In the annals of history, few moments stand out as sharply as Constantine's vision of the cross before the Battle of the Milvian Bridge in 312 CE. This event, often portrayed as a divine revelation, is celebrated as a turning point in the rise of Christianity, marking the beginning of its transformation from a persecuted sect to the dominant religion of the Roman Empire. But was it truly an encounter with the divine, or was it something else entirely? Could this vision have been a calculated move, a political strategy designed to consolidate power and reshape the empire to suit Constantine's ambitions? Constantine's rise to power came during a period of immense turmoil. The Roman Empire, divided under the Tetrarchy, was a fractured and unstable entity. Rival factions vied for dominance, and the fabric of Roman society, once held together by a shared pantheon of gods and a strong imperial cult, was beginning to fray. Christianity, though still a minority religion, was rapidly gaining followers. By the early 4th century, it represented a growing and organized demographic capable of wielding influence. For a ruler seeking to unite an empire, this burgeoning faith offered an unprecedented opportunity. Constantine's vision before the Battle of the Milvian Bridge is one of the most iconic moments in Christian history. It is often depicted as a divine intervention, signaling God's favor and guiding Constantine to victory. However, the accounts of this vision, primarily recorded by Eusebius and Lactantius, reveal inconsistencies and raise questions about its historical accuracy. Was this vision truly a religious experience, or was it a carefully crafted narrative designed to solidify Constantine's authority and align him with the growing Christian movement? Two main sources describe the vision, each offering a slightly different version of events. The first account comes from Lactantius, a Christian advisor to Constantine, who wrote in his On the Deaths of the Persecutors shortly after the battle. According to Lactantius, Constantine received a vision in a dream the night before the battle, instructing him to inscribe the Chi-Rho symbol, a Christian monogram, on the shields of his soldiers. Lactantius emphasizes the direct connection between this divine instruction and Constantine's victory, portraying it as a clear sign of God's intervention. The second and more elaborate account comes from Eusebius, the bishop of Caesarea, who recorded it years later in his life of Constantine. Eusebius describes a vision that occurred during daylight, in which Constantine saw a cross of light in the sky, accompanied by the words, "In hoc signo vinces," in this sign you will conquer. Later in a dream, Christ appeared to Constantine and instructed him to use the cross as his symbol of victory. Eusebius presents this vision as a turning point, marking Constantine's conversion to Christianity and his divine mandate to rule. The differences between these accounts are significant. Lactantius's version is simpler, focusing on a dream and the use of the Chi-Rho symbol. Eusebius, writing after Constantine had established Christianity as the dominant religion of the empire, provides a more dramatic and detailed narrative, complete with supernatural elements and direct divine communication. The timing of Eusebius's account, published decades after the event, raises questions about its reliability, as it reflects the political and theological agenda of a church now closely aligned with imperial power. The inconsistencies between these accounts suggest that the vision was shaped to serve specific purposes at different times. Lactantius's version, written closer to the event, reflects the immediate need to legitimize Constantine's victory and align it with divine favor. Eusebius's later account, by contrast, portrays Constantine as a divinely chosen ruler, emphasizing his role as the protector of Christianity and reinforcing the church's authority under his reign. Furthermore, the lack of contemporary Roman records corroborating the vision raises doubts about its historicity. Roman chroniclers, who meticulously documented military campaigns and political events, make no mention of a divine vision associated with the Battle of the Milvian Bridge. This absence suggests that the vision may not have been a widely recognized event at the time, and was instead retroactively inserted into the narrative to bolster Constantine's legacy. The symbolic elements of the vision also merit scrutiny. The Chi-Rho symbol, an early Christian monogram, would have been recognizable to Constantine and his Christian advisors. By adopting this symbol, Constantine could simultaneously appeal to the growing Christian population and frame his victory as divinely ordained. The phrase, "in hoc signo vinces," further reinforced this narrative, linking Constantine's military success to his newfound association with Christianity. The vision's timing, just before a decisive battle against Maxentius, also raises questions about its strategic value. Constantine was locked in a power struggle, and aligning himself with Christianity offered several advantages. It allowed him to tap into a growing and organized religious community, while distancing himself from the pagan traditions associated with his rivals. The vision, whether real or fabricated, provided a powerful narrative to justify his actions and rally support. In light of these inconsistencies and strategic considerations, Constantine's vision appears less like a spontaneous divine revelation and more like a carefully constructed narrative. The discrepancies between the accounts, the absence of corroborating evidence, and the vision's alignment with Constantine's political goals all point to a calculated use of religion as a tool for power. This event, immortalized in Christian tradition, was not just a moment of spiritual awakening, but a masterstroke of political strategy. The idea that Constantine's vision was a carefully constructed narrative gains traction when we examine the political landscape of his time and the strategic benefits he derived from his association with Christianity. Far from being an impulsive or purely spiritual decision, Constantine's embrace of the Christian faith can be viewed as a calculated move to consolidate power, unify the empire, and legitimize his rule. By the early 4th century, the Roman Empire was a fractured and volatile entity. The Tetrarchy, introduced by Diocletian, divided the empire into 4 regions, each governed by an emperor or subordinate ruler. This system, while initially stabilizing, ultimately fostered rivalry and division. Constantine's rise to power placed him in direct conflict with Maxentius, who controlled the western portion of the empire, including Rome. The Battle of the Milvian Bridge was not just a military confrontation, but a decisive moment that would determine the future of the empire. Aligning himself with Christianity offered Constantine several key advantages. First, it provided a unifying ideology for an empire increasingly divided along religious and cultural lines. Christianity, despite being a minority religion, was rapidly growing and well organized. By publicly adopting the faith, Constantine could tap into its expanding base of followers who were eager for a leader who shared their beliefs. This move positioned him as a unifying figure capable of bridging the divides within the empire. Second, the vision and its narrative offered a powerful means of legitimizing Constantine's rule. In a society where divine favor was seen as a key indicator of political authority, the claim of a divine vision elevated Constantine above his rivals. By portraying himself as a ruler chosen by God, Constantine could assert moral and spiritual superiority over Maxentius, whose rule lacked such validation. The image of the cross in the sky and the phrase "in hoc signo vinces" reinforced the idea that Constantine's victory was preordained, making his claim to power unassailable. Third, Constantine's embrace of Christianity allowed him to distance himself from the traditional paganism associated with his rivals and predecessors. Pagan practices, while still dominant, were increasingly viewed as outdated and fragmented. By aligning with Christianity, Constantine positioned himself as a progressive and visionary leader, attuned to the shifting cultural and religious dynamics of his time. This alignment also undermined the traditional Roman elite, who relied on the old religious order to maintain their power. Constantine's actions after the Battle of the Milvian Bridge further reveal his strategic use of Christianity. In 313 CE, he issued the Edict of Milan, which legalized Christianity and granted religious freedom throughout the empire. This decree not only ended the persecution of Christians, but also established Constantine as a protector of the faith. The edict was a political masterstroke, allowing Constantine to gain the loyalty of the Christian population while maintaining the support of non-Christian factions by extending religious tolerance to all. Beyond the Edict of Milan, Constantine's patronage of Christianity was extensive. He funded the construction of churches, including the Basilica of St. Peter in Rome, and actively involved himself in theological disputes, such as the Arian controversy. His convening of the Council of Nicaea in 325 CE was a landmark moment in Christian history, shaping the faith's doctrine and unifying its practices. These actions were not merely acts of faith, but deliberate efforts to consolidate his power and integrate Christianity into the fabric of the Roman Empire. However, Constantine's religious policies were not without contradictions. Despite his public embrace of Christianity, he continued to honor traditional Roman deities, particularly Sol Invictus, the sun god. Coins minted during his reign featured Christian symbols alongside pagan imagery, reflecting his pragmatic approach to religion. By maintaining ties to both traditions, Constantine ensured that he could appeal to a broad base of supporters, balancing the old with the new. This duality raises important questions about Constantine's sincerity. Was his conversion genuine, or was it a calculated move to secure his political ambitions? The evidence suggests that Constantine was less concerned with theological purity and more focused on the practical benefits of aligning with Christianity. His actions demonstrate a keen understanding of the power of religion as a tool for governance and social cohesion. Constantine's vision and his subsequent embrace of Christianity were not isolated events but integral parts of a broader strategy to reshape the Roman Empire. By adopting the faith and promoting its growth, he created a narrative of divine favor that legitimized his rule and unified his subjects. This narrative, rooted in the vision at the Milvian Bridge, became the cornerstone of his legacy, transforming both the empire and Christianity itself. Constantine's vision and subsequent actions did more than secure his position as ruler of the Roman Empire. They fundamentally transformed Christianity, elevating it from a persecuted minority faith to a dominant cultural and political force. His embrace of the church reshaped its organization, doctrine, and relationship with power, creating a legacy that would define the faith for centuries to come. Before Constantine, Christianity was a fragmented and decentralized movement, operating largely in the shadows. Persecutions had forced early Christians to worship in private homes and underground spaces like the catacombs. While these hardships forged a strong communal identity, they also limited the faith's public influence. Constantine's patronage changed this dynamic almost overnight. By openly endorsing Christianity, he granted it legitimacy and resources that allowed it to flourish on an unprecedented scale. One of Constantine's most significant contributions was the construction of monumental churches, which symbolized the newfound prominence of Christianity in Roman society. The Basilica of St. John Lateran in Rome, the Church of the Holy Sepulchre in Jerusalem, and the Basilica of St. Peter were all built during his reign, transforming Christian worship from private gatherings to grand public ceremonies. These structures not only provided places for worship, but also signaled the faith's integration into the cultural and political fabric of the empire. Constantine's influence extended beyond architecture to the organization of the church itself. His involvement in theological disputes, particularly through the Council of Nicaea in 325 CE, helped to unify Christian doctrine and practices. The council addressed the Arian controversy, which questioned the divinity of Christ, and produced the Nicene Creed, a statement of faith that remains central to Christianity. Constantine's role in convening and presiding over the council demonstrated the growing interdependence between the church and the imperial state. This interdependence had profound implications for Christianity's identity. As the church gained imperial favor, it adopted many of the administrative and hierarchical structures of the Roman government. Bishops assumed roles akin to provincial governors, overseeing large territories and wielding significant influence. The Bishop of Rome, in particular, began to emerge as a figure of central authority, laying the groundwork for the papacy. This fusion of Roman and Christian institutions created a powerful and enduring framework for governance. Constantine's vision also transformed Christian symbols and rituals. The Chi Rho monogram, prominently displayed on Constantine's banners and shields, became a universal emblem of the faith. The cross, once a symbol of Roman execution, was reinterpreted as a sign of victory and redemption. Even the calendar was affected, with Constantine instituting Sunday as a day of rest and worship in honor of the Christian God, aligning religious observance with the rhythms of Roman life. However, this alignment with imperial power came at a cost. As Christianity became the official religion of the empire under Constantine's successors, it began to mirror the hierarchical and authoritarian nature of Roman governance. The church, once a grassroots movement of marginalized communities, now wielded the same tools of control that had been used against it. This transformation raised questions about the faith's relationship with power and its commitment to the teachings of Christ, who had preached humility and service rather than dominance and authority. Constantine's vision also had long-term effects on Christianity's relationship with other religions. The Edict of Milan in 313 CE granted religious freedom, but subsequent emperors increasingly favored Christianity at the expense of pagan practices. Pagan temples were converted into churches, and traditional rites were suppressed. By the end of the 4th century, under Emperor Theodosius I, Christianity became the official state religion, and paganism was effectively outlawed. This shift not only cemented Christianity's dominance but also marked the beginning of its role as a tool of political power and cultural conformity. The legacy of Constantine's vision is complex. On one hand, it provided the foundation for Christianity's global influence, enabling it to shape the moral, cultural, and political landscapes of the Western world. On the other hand, it marked the beginning of a fraught relationship between the church and power, as the faith's alignment with empire often compromised its spiritual ideals. Constantine's use of religion as a means of consolidating authority set a precedent that would be followed by rulers for centuries, intertwining faith and politics in ways that continue to resonate. By transforming Christianity into a state-sanctioned religion, Constantine reshaped its trajectory, turning a movement rooted in resistance and humility into an institution of immense power. His vision, whether divine or devised, became the cornerstone of this transformation, forever altering the relationship between religion and empire. Constantine's vision of the cross before the Battle of the Milvian Bridge is remembered as a divine turning point in history, a moment when Christianity was thrust into the spotlight of the Roman Empire. But a closer examination reveals a more calculated narrative, one steeped in political strategy and ambition. This vision was not simply a spiritual revelation, but a carefully constructed and wielded tool that allowed Constantine to consolidate power, unite his empire, and fundamentally transform the trajectory of Christianity. The historical context of Constantine's rise paints a clear picture of an empire teetering on the edge of fragmentation. Faced with the daunting task of securing his rule in a fractured political and religious landscape, Constantine needed more than military prowess. He needed a unifying ideology that could rally the people and legitimize his authority. Christianity, with its growing influence and organized structure, presented the perfect opportunity. By aligning himself with the faith, Constantine effectively co-opted a movement that was already gaining momentum. The vision at the Milvian Bridge, whether fabricated or exaggerated, served as the linchpin of this strategy. It portrayed Constantine as a ruler chosen by God, blessed with divine favor and destined to lead. This narrative not only justified his actions, but also provided a compelling story that resonated with Christians and pagans alike. The aftermath of Constantine's vision underscores its success as a political tool. Through policies like the Edict of Milan and his patronage of the Church, Constantine reshaped Christianity into an institution that mirrored the structure and authority of the Roman Empire. His convening of the Council of Nicaea established the precedent for imperial involvement in church affairs, forever intertwining religion and state. These actions solidified Constantine's legacy as the ruler who transformed Christianity from a marginalized sect into the dominant religion of the Western world. Yet this transformation was not without its costs. As Christianity became the faith of the empire, it adopted many of the characteristics of imperial power, including hierarchy, wealth, and the suppression of dissent. The Church's alignment with political authority raised questions about its commitment to the teachings of Christ, who had preached humility and resistance to worldly power. Constantine's vision, while instrumental in elevating Christianity, also marked the beginning of this tension, a tension that continues to shape the faith to this day. The story of Constantine's vision is a testament to the power of narrative in shaping history. By claiming divine inspiration, Constantine secured his rule and set the stage for Christianity's rise. But this narrative also highlights the complex relationship between religion and politics, a relationship that has been both a source of strength and a point of contention throughout history. Ultimately, Constantine's vision was less about a divine revelation and more about a ruler seizing an opportunity. It was a moment of political genius, a calculated move that reshaped an empire and a religion. While the divine light may not have shone in the sky that day, the brilliance of Constantine's strategy ensured that the story would endure for millennia, leaving an indelible mark on the world. If you enjoy our content, we'd love your support. By joining one of our channel memberships, you help us continue creating videos like this one while gaining access to some amazing perks. As a member, you'll unlock exclusive content available only to supporters, earn loyalty badges to show off in comments and live chats, and enjoy priority responses to your comments, shoutouts, and more. The best part? Memberships start at just $2.99 a month, less than a cup of coffee. Even small contributions make a big difference for the PJ Bible TV team in covering production costs and delivering the content you love. And if you're not ready to become a channel member today but still want to support us, there are other ways to help. Engaging with our videos is a tremendous way to show your support. By taking just a few moments to like the video, share it with friends, family, or on social media, and leave a comment, you're telling the YouTube algorithm to share our content with more people. Your support, no matter how you choose to show it, means the world to us. Thank you for being part of the PJ Bible TV community.